Hello, 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 hello. Um, this is just gonna go over some useful stuff that I know about Ableton. So really quickly to review, let's cover some keyboard shortcuts that we used to use. Control A selects everything you've got. The minus button, a couple spaces away from backspace, minus zooms out, plus zooms in. And you can also do that with this little black box here. You can click it and drag up or down. Uh, However you want to do that. Yep. So hey, look at this. I've got these drums over here, but I don't have snares for it. So let's just grab this by the top of the clip, select, holding shift, holding the shift button, bam, we can select this last fourth snare drum to select all of them, bam. Control C, copy, and we'll go in and put it in the same spot it would be at. Control V, bam, and let's just hear that real quick. Yep, so that's some stuff. Duplicate. Duplicate's a really handy command. You select the top of a clip, hold the shift button and select the very bottom right hand clip that you want. Bam. Oh no, it didn't select everything. So we'll just, we've got everything on this side selected proper. So we'll just hold shift, the shift button, just shift, and click right here. Bam. Oh no, it unselected that. So let's hold shift again and select those. Bam. So we got all of that. Look at that. We used shift. I know it seemed a little, I don't know, I didn't expect it to unselect the top part. But anyway, an easier way to select all that stuff would be select and drag. And this, I think this has snap to grid automatically set. And there are other different quantize options. But we're going to duplicate this really quick. So we just select this area. Control D like delta. Bam. You know, you can move stuff, select everything. Control X. Control X cuts it. And then Control V like Velcro. That pastes it if you need to move something. Oh yeah, and oh, my bad, I fucked that up. Shoop. And if you want, you can add some saturation to your fucking kicks. So we're gonna go to the kick track. This is just the EQs I have on it. It says auto filters, but it's basically an EQ that is automated to be either a high pass or a low pass filter. This is what looks like a low pass filter, and this is a high pass filter. High pass filter basically cuts the lows. Low pass filter basically keeps the lows and cuts the highs, and I'm just using a combination of these to get this type of sound out of drums that normally sound like this. Nothing in here is mixed that well. We're at 3 minutes, and it cuts me off at 5 minutes, so I'm just going to try to hurry this up. Some fun stuff. So let's throw a saturator on these kicks just to hear how that sounds. So audio effects, I'm just going to search saturator. Drive and color, saturator, there it is. I'm just going to drag this over to the kick track, wablam. I think I should have it before the EQs because you're going to be distorting it and then you kind of want to cut some of that out. So what we can do is, this is a saturator. This is basically applies distortion to your shit. If you want like the hardest hitting fucking saturator, select right here and go to hard curve. And you can just crank that drive up. And you'll probably have to mix the drums a bit differently because it's going to be very loud, but... And yeah, I was just messing with that low pass filter, you know, because with this filter you're only cutting out the lowest of lows. With this one we were cutting out the mids and highs, but I kind of brought it back up so you could hear a little more of the crunch on these kicks. Okay, so in the last clip, I was showing you those auto filters, also known as high pass filter and low pass filter. But if we weren't going to use an auto filter and we wanted to EQ this crazy crunchy bass, we could use EQ8. So one way you can find this, you can select Audio Effects, search effect for EQ8, or just EQ, and at least on my version of Ableton, it brings up a folder that says EQ and filters. That's new to me. EQ8, and you can just drag this you can select the EQ8 and drag it over to whatever you're trying to EQ. So we're trying to EQ these kicks, and I already had one on there, so we're going to delete the extra. So you have 4 different plot points in the EQ. All this stuff up here is super high pitch. All this stuff down here is super low pitched. Really low hitting bass kicks or kick drums and bass synths are down at this register right here. But usually if you have like a really beefy bass type sound, it's good to kind of cut the low end of the mix so it's not muddy later. So we got our EQ8. We're going to select this low point right here, the number 1 point, and we're going to change it to this. So we got our 1 point, and we're going to change the shape to this shape right here. And that like that with the bass kind of curving down as it goes closer to 0 hertz, or 1 hertz or whatever. It's good to cut out the lowest lows in your bass sounds, because otherwise it's going to sound really muddy. You can also cut the highs if you want. So we're going to hear this. It's going to sound very similar because the mids and highs are very crunchy from this saturator making the distortion. But yeah, let's see if we can mess around with the other end of it. So I'm going to select the highest point, the number 4, and we're going to do the same shape except the other way. We're going to do it like this. See this shape right here for the number 4? And this will take out the high end, the mid, and we've already kind of cut the lows out, even though we've preserved most of it. So let's just mess with this number 4 as we play the kick drums. So yeah, some fun stuff. That's just a little bit of EQ, and if I decide to make tutorials on automation, I'll cover that as well. Basically telling these numbers to move around while your beat is playing. You can do that as well. It's called automation. Yeah, it's just the number A button, but number A button. Anyway, sorry, I'll cover automation in a different video because it can get rather you probably need to cover a lot of different things to fully understand automation, and I'm probably going to have to practice with it a bit before I share. But I hope these tutorials are easy to follow, and I hope that I'm not wasting your time. Take care.